Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. I am joined by all of my friends to open up some magic.
Okay.
This is awesome.
You should not say all of your friends. We have a few more than these two.
This is all of my friends.
All of them currently in the room.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
All the friends currently here.
Yes.
Yeah, and Merlin is somewhere probably taking a little nap.
My only friends
My only friends.
ever.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me. This is very exciting. The pressure is on.
Sure is.
Foundations is gearing up to be probably one of my favorite Magic products released since I've gotten back into the hobby. I don't know about everyone else. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like I've been away from the game for a while. So to be able to come in back to a set that is as simplistic and as sort of just restarting as Foundations is going to make it a lot easier to keep up with it when more packs release and more.
Absolutely.
It feels like a reboot.
Yeah, there you go. That'll work.
It kind of does. That's a
It's
good
a
way of
reboot.
putting it. It's like a reboot. Kind of welcoming players that may have given up at one point to jump back in and rebuild their collection full of cool cards, cool characters that they've already played and collected before. But let's just jump in. I'm going to be opening up some packs and just kind of talking about the game and overall kind of feeling. How about you? How does that sound to everybody?
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going through this set, I don't know if anybody heard, but this set came out recently, and then also the Secret Lair for Marvel came out. I don't know if you heard all of the headaches that people were kind of going over with Overrun for Marvel Secret Lair and the website. Did anybody hear about this?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Call World Eater. That's really good.
I heard that there's some problems with the queuing system.
Yeah.
I think scalpers in just general, when it comes to a lot of these hobby things, when it comes to limited edition prints, it's always been an issue. It's hard to combat. Just because like you have things that are, they do anything in a limited print, let's say they print 500 of these, people with scalpers gonna buy them and resell them, right? So I know it's really frustrating. I don't like limited prints as just a concept in itself. But
Yeah, you do get visibly angry, or I would say visibly frustrated. I could see it
Yeah,
in your. You're not easy to get frustrated.
I think it's anti-consumer, but that's a whole other discussion.
Right.
I don't like it.
I think that's fair to say. Wizards has been accused of that before.
Yeah, I wish it was a print on demand. Like, hey,
Left it on 69.
you can buy this, but it'll come back. Hey, for this time period, you buy it, they'll print it, and then they'll send it to you. Might be a little longer, but I think that'd be a better solution than 500.
Well, and that's what they do with the Extra Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's
One that they
just
did
print
for
to
Shaman.
demand.
Well, that's what's so frustrating is that they have systems where they've combated.
Alicia.
They have systems where they've combated this, and they've beaten it. But they're, they're like, but for this one, no. And I get not having the infrastructure for it, but maybe you do less. Less is more, sort of thing.
I don't know for Marvel specifically. I don't know if it was much of an infrastructure or that type of thing. I think it was just a poor way to drive up hype. Because they know how popular Marvel is, they know how popular Magic is becoming, especially Commander being the number one format for the card game in the past 3 years running.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I think
preposterous proportions. It's a bunch of squirrels. Squirrel was one of my favorite cards.
Pause for squirrel.
Pause for squirrel.
But I think it was an attempt on both Marvel and Wizards of the Coast's part to try to boost the hype around the Secret Lair.
Yeah. And hype, they did. I mean, they did sell, they did put some of the most powerful cards I've probably seen in that. But I would also say, I think with the jumping the line, they were able to follow a link that would just take them directly to checkout, which is really frustrating if you've been in queues for secret layers before.
Yes.
People were waiting up to 4 hours for as little as like one Storm secret layer package, and they couldn't get it because a lot of people were jumping the line. Even if you had one thing added to your cart, like the extra life kit for an example, you're able to also go to checkout with your whatever card that you were going for in the secret layer as well at the same time. So that was super frustrating.
I did hear
Stroke
that
of
they
Midnight.
ended up patching
Vengeful
that
Blood Witch
out
extended.
towards the like early afternoon, but yeah,
They
absolutely.
did fix it, but
Not-
it
not
caused
great.
problems up until then.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's such a weird thing too, because you know at the same time they patched out the skipping the line, but then you're also like for stuff like that is hyped up, like Marvel is or Disney products, or when they do hypothetically in the future some other big show like Game of Thrones.
SpongeBob.
You're gonna have scalpers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People that go and buy these things with
Yeah.
multiple accounts.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be,
Ooh,
in my
Space of
opinion,
Forgotten Lore.
really hard to deal with when you're doing these limited prints, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would be cool to have something with a link to, like, maybe it has to be an active Magic the Gathering account. I don't know. Then you're ostracizing new players. There's a lot that goes into it. I don't know. Maybe something related to your local. That'd be a cooler way to do it.
That would be cool.
Where you have to go to your local and buy it. But then you trusting these store owners, and some of them aren't the best. So like, there's a lot of like weird things that go with that. I don't know though. It's a hard problem. I feel just scalpers in general and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. It's very hard for people to, if they're promised with all these cards that have a certain power like threshold, and to acquire them to be competitive, because Wizards is going to make a lot of the universes beyond playable in modern. So they have to collect them, and they can't get them. It just feels like Wizards doesn't have their best intentions, or the intentions of Wizards doesn't have their players at heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the solution to that then? There is no perfect solution, because if you think about it, you do print to demand, right?
Yeah.
But then you have some of these super powerful cards that are just going to flood the market and flood games and kind of, you know, start or accelerate the power creep of decks for Commander or for Standard. That's just going to like take the people that, like me, I didn't really care about the Marvel Secret Lair drop. I didn't even try to go for it because it's not. I love Marvel, I love Secret Lair stuff, but it's not one of those things where like it spoke to me, especially for the price. So it's like, if they do print to demand and everybody gets it except me, is that going to leave me behind in the game and then cause me to have to buy all of the Secret Lairs going forward just to stay relevant? Like that's
Day of Judgment.
Right.
like if you do print to demand like they did with the like they did with Extra Life, or like they did with the Sheltermentary ones. Like those are constant staples. They're not super overpowered cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, do they change what cards they put in these?
I mean, should Secret Layers be? That's the caveat of like, should Secret Layers be super powerful cards? And two, should we gatekeep these powerful cards with a $90 price tag? Right? Like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think that, like, if it was a pro on demand and let's say there's a super powerful card, something.
I'm freaking out a little bit. This is a special guest, Grim Tutor. So that's a really good card. Grim Tutor. So it's going to be a really good tutor. 3 cost, sorcery speed, but you get to put it into your hand and then lose 3 life. But look at that artwork. That's so
cool.
So freaking cool.
That's going off to the side.
Yeah, that's a treasure vault right there.
I'm gonna go grab my clear sleeves while you guys keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think there was a day when, and a Najani Color of the Pride in the same pack. Good lordy. Lordy, I love Mia Najani. Armor Sword Guide. I think like when Secret Layers, the initial intent at least, you kind of have to look at the past a little bit, because the initial intent of Secret Layers were just reskins of cards that already existed, but they would just have, you know, different characters on them for flavor.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were.
Like for an example, for my
Initially.
idea for Jason Voorhees would have been Unstoppable Killer.
Yeah.
Because it's a horror set, and that would have been really fun as a special guest of like this killer that keeps coming back. And alluded to, that's, you know, our favorite hockey mask wearing character from Crystal Lake. I think that would have been a really cool IP to grab. But if they're coming up with new cards, like just Storm in general is just going to be have such an impact on the casual commander table by itself. So I was wondering, like, what would you think about with the? I know Wizards has been kind of Fire Spitter Whelp. I like that card. Has been almost reversing their decision on proxying, because I know they had a very popular statement back in 2016 that proxies would never be allowed at your local game store, unless you're just running a very casual games. But now it seems like they have gone back on that decision in favor of just getting them out of the sanctioned events, like the big tournaments. So how do you feel about that? Like, you could still go to locals and compete for smaller prizes, but you didn't have to invest in such, you know, cards, especially if they're not available too.
Well, I think it does leave room for newer players or more cost-conscious players. And I like the idea of having proxies, particularly if you were running a newer deck, just for you. Not even like if you're a new player. Just, this is a deck, I'm gonna try it out, and before I spend a bunch of money on all these cards, I'm gonna try it and proxy. Or it gives you a chance to pull some of your bulk and do something else with it too.
Oh yeah.
So I think it just opens things up. I don't necessarily have an issue with it, as long as I can actually read the cards.
Right, like you have a decent printer.
Yes.
Like I'll be honest with you, I just went directly, because I wanted to test them before they even came out. I just printed all of the Marvel cards. I just hit Control P and hopefully, ooh, Banner of Kinship. I needed that card. Hopefully that's right. Ooh, followed by Ashru Animist, full art. That's really nice. Have to, ooh, Raise the Past.
He's just oohing over
This is
here.
like, it almost feels like a collector pack. And once you get like a bunch of extended, like back to back to back, that's really nice. And just a regular human. Call him Dave. Yeah.
human.
Yeah, when it comes to proxies, I've always been, when I first started, I was like sort of kind of anti-proxy just because I didn't use them. But I've sort of turned that around where I've realized that I don't think this game should be like financially gatekeeped. I think that when it comes to playing this game,
Hi, Trickster.
when you're playing specifically Commander, or this also applies to pretty much any card game, that you're looking at $400 to $800 decks. And that number, it fluctuates based on the value of these cards and yada yada yada. But that shouldn't be the case in my opinion. You should be able to play what you want when you want. And I think you have that session 0 with your pod, with your friends, saying, hey, don't use what is it? Temple of Falling? I don't remember the name of the card. Some like old card from the 90s that's like super busted. You know, like keep it, you know, friendly. So I think it's about doing that with your pod and understanding what they're okay with. But I think to go back on the stores and Wizards' opinion on it, or WizKids or whatever you want to call them, they
WizKids?
yeah,
You mean Hasbro?
I can't stand that.
Hasbro. Yeah.
I know that there's a license stores have, and they're like approved to do Magic events. And if you weren't following their guidelines, you could potentially lose that license, and you wouldn't get as much product, you wouldn't get preferential treatment and stuff like that. So, it's nice to see them say proxies are okay, because I know most stores players ran them, and the fear for those store owners is, hey, if I get caught, I can lose that, or, you know, I might lose this sick, you know, deal I have with
Right.
my content, right? So I think it's cool that they're a little bit more open to it, and they know that everyone's running it. It's one of those where it's just like everyone's bootlegging, so let's just embrace it a little bit, and you know, maybe we gotta and yeah, so
Yeah, I'm personally not against proxies to play against unless it's like I go back and forth a lot because all of my commander decks that I have are either precons or I've built them just based on cards that I have. And I feel like for a new player, if proxies are available, and there's always been this talk about power creep in commander specifically, but in the game, each year it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I like this. I love Liliana.
Power creep is starting to get out of hand. And if now proxies are allowed at the LGS level, that's going to accelerate that even more.
That's true.
And potentially confuse a new player because it's like, okay, I just opened this precon. I have 100 cards that I have no idea what to do with. I have everybody telling me, oh, I have to upgrade it with this, that, and the other thing, but now I can use proxies. Now that's 3 times as many cards as there would be. Now, you don't have to do that, obviously. You can do what I did and just use the cards that you have. But it also opens the door to more confusion, in my opinion, and it's going to make an already confusing game even more confusing.
I could definitely see that. I think with some of the cards, I have like a couple of cards where half the thing is proxied out just because I can see how the deck operates first and foremost. But a lot of those cards I'm proxying are like maybe anywhere from 30 cents to like $2.
Yeah, right.
It's just sometimes my locals doesn't have the card. They have almost everything, but sometimes I can't get them right away.
You've also done it where you built me a deck and you're like, hey, there's a couple cards in there that are proxied. Use the deck. Tell me if you like it. Okay, then I will get you those real cards.
Right.
You have done that a few times.
Proxying to Goldfish is a great idea because you can actually play tests and see how it is. Always support your local game store first and foremost. If you can afford the cards, I would say buy the cards. Especially like starting your local game store, do like TCG Player, do those sorts of things. If you want a proxy to save some money, understandable. If you want a proxy to make your deck a 10, you're annoying. That's how I see it. That's my personal opinion.
I definitely think it depends on your pod.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm playing, all my friends play 9s.
Yeah.
Right. And they're coming in with $800 decks. I'm proxying.
Yeah.
Because I'm bringing my deck up to your level, and that's what I was sort of going with like you talk with your pod and make sure you're cool, because no one likes turn 3 infinite.
Yep.
I lose if my deck doesn't even start till turn 6.
Yeah.
So and that's
I just saw Joe Manganiello, another follower of TMET, almost as high as ranking as me.
Friend of the channel.
And I swear he has a friend of the channel, Joe Manganiello. Hey, Joe. How you doing? We've got Strawling Crawler. But he had a deck, I swear that deck is like $9,000.
Yeah.
And that was going infinite on turn 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Consistently 2 games in a row, and they're like, all right, well, that was the game. I was dying laughing. That's a really good channel because they just have a lot of fun on there as well when playing Commander. But yeah, some of those cards I might not proxy because they're so powerful. Like I would rather get something that can compete with their Ristic Study with my Ristic Study, or the equivalent of that across from me. And those are very expensive cards. Some of them desperately need reprints. Just don't go crazy with it. Just like have a good consistent pod, see what you might need. Like, I'm gonna get a Grim Tutor eventually, but you mind if I use this printout? Or I literally used to write on the back of a card with Sharpie, like silver Sharpie, like Tutor, like Grim Tutor.
That's how I remember seeing proxies when I started. Was just literally a scrap of paper in a card sleeve.
Yep.
And it was like this card,
Swiftfoot.
So stuff like that I think is okay. And like I said, just talk to your pod, make sure they're cool with it. You know.
Full art hollow refute.
Oh,
This is going
man.
in my starter on deck.
Yeah, that card's great for you.
I
Okay,
wanna
so
see that full art.
we have a just I think about 10 packs left. I did want to get to.
I want to see that full art.
Oh yeah. The refute. Yeah, I might have to trade that to you.
That's
We did make a deal early on, so if you wanted to have that, that's yours.
gorgeous. Yeah.
So run away together. I did want to get to the slate for Magic because I do get really excited. I still get excited for Universes Beyond because I think technically Dungeons and Dragons maybe on the fence, like maybe Universes Beyond adjacent because they own the properties and they fit so well with each other. But I got into Magic through D&D because I love rolling dice at the same time. But it seems like the slate, you've got, just for the first 6 months of 2025, we've got 3 Universes Beyond sets. I want to know what your opinion is on that. Like, what is the fix there? Because are they trusting their own IP to sell, or are they kind of relying on other characters? Because we have like a full Spider-Man set coming out next year.
Yeah.
Who wants to tackle that behemoth of a slate?
They're definitely relying on other IPs.
I think it's more of, I don't know if they're necessarily relying on other IPs. I think Universes Beyond is a good way to get, kind of like Foundations. It seems like they're getting back to basics with a lot of this stuff and trying to entice new players into
New legendary.
a format of their choosing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Universes Beyond is a good way to get players in the door, just like Foundations, like we're talking about right now. It's just, I think it's a good door opener. I don't know. I think I'm 50-50. I think, yes, they're trying to rely and make some more money, obviously, but I think they're also trying to entice new players to just come into the world, and having a common theme as an entryway just makes it a lot easier. Because Magic is daunting.
It
Magic's
is.
daunting.
It is.
And I'm not saying I don't like them. Like, I have a Doctor Who deck, and it's the 10th Doctor, because why would you have anyone else?
Right. Well, it's kind of like,
Obviously.
where do you start? Like, where, like in the lore, I think for me, it's like,
That-
where do you
that
start? Because
part
I want to
is
get into the
difficult,
characters.
Because I would too. I would like to get into the characters and understanding. But if I do start with an IP that I already know, then I'm comfortable with those, and it
Right.
does kind of click. Like, okay, if I'm phasing stuff in and out, I understand that goes along with what I know with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like when you first presented me with Slimefoot, I'm like, who is this guy? How does this work then? So I do get that.
Yeah.
It would be nice to hear more stories of the actual Magic
I want like an.
IP.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And if they had comic books, I'd read the hell out of those.
What if like a digital comic book QR code like on the boxes, so you can know like the kind of like the current story, or at least like a jump into like the chapter 1 of whatever story takes place of the current set, and then you open up cards to kind of piece it together, and then fans get to piece it, you know, what they
Like
think
an
is
ARG.
happening. Yeah,
That'd be cool.
that's kind of how I put together, like, you know, when you're watching, when you're playing Dark Souls, you get to piece a lot of the Authority of the Consoles, great card, piece a lot of the story together of interconnected dialogue and
Yep.
all the different NPCs that you meet. I would love to do the same thing. Like I've learned about the Planeswalker. I learned about Gatewatch and the Phyrexian assault. I learned about Sarkhan. That's my favorite Planeswalker currently. Hasn't been beaten yet, but Dak Faden is also pretty high up there for me. But now I have a favorite Planeswalker, because you start playing these other cards in your Doctor Who deck or whatever deck that you're playing, and then you want to learn about them. I think the interest, the general interest is there. I think they really needed to continue the storyline, like the series of books though, because I know I'm going to start reading them soon, and then I'm going to get to a certain point, like what happened? It kind of felt like they dipped a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that.
More, I don't know it too much. I agree they don't do a good job. Back on Universes Beyond, I'm the negative Nancy about it. I do agree. I think it's a good starting off point. I do think it's good outreach for new players. But it feels like at least the last 6-7 Universes Beyond have been extremely strong. They've all either brought back old mechanics and made them incredibly competitive, or they've introduced new mechanics and made them very, very strong. So it's not like, hey, this is new, mid to low level, you come in, you start, you have fun. This is like, no, I'm going and I started with the Warhammer deck. I got into it because of Universes Beyond. And that deck, all 3 of them or all 4 of them are very strong for a precon. And which I'm happy with because, you know, they're not power creeped out of the game yet. But the caveat to that is I'm playing a Lord of the Rings deck and I see a mass and I'm playing against a Fallout deck that has like 3 different mechanics that I don't even know. And then I'm looking at a Warhammer deck that's got Squad, and then all of a sudden we're in a Doctor Who deck that's got 6 things I don't understand. And there's all these new keywords with every single new Universes Beyond. And I'm just, I'm sort of like, okay, man, like, this is a lot for me. As someone that plays the game casually, all these new keywords they're adding with every single new Universe Beyond is just too much.
I will say it was nice that on Foundations they were writing out. So if they say trample, it says what that means. Haste, what that means.
Well, I'm not so much saying that like they're not explaining it because sometimes they are.
No. I'm just saying it was like nice that Foundations is doing that because they got away from printing what those things mean
and just assuming.
Yeah.
I just don't like having a new mechanic every set. I think
that's fair.
I think they need to slow, especially with the Universe Beyond, because that is the new player set. I shouldn't be. If I'm a new player playing the new Avengers deck,
Cunning Infiltrator,
I should be able to go to the experienced player, hand them a card, and say, "What does that do?" and them not pull out their phone. Especially since the Universe Beyond are the outreach themes. Getting new players with that, make them outreach. Either type it all out like you're doing with Foundations, or don't add a new mechanic. Please, God, I'm just begging you. Don't do it.
So the Universes Beyond, maybe it's like a little too much. We are excited about some of those IPs because Spider-Man, I know there's a lot of naysayers on Spider-Man. That just gives me an excuse to build a Mysterio commander deck. And that's my favorite Marvel character. So I'm going to love that personally. But what do you feel about like the box of like booster box that comes with those now, or should it have stayed with the like commander decks, like a commander deck and maybe some collector's packs like what they did with Fallout?
What are you talking about?
Go ahead.
So Assassin's Creed came out with a whole booster box of booster packs you can get with it, where some of the older Universes Beyond came with 4 commander decks like Warhammer. And maybe, I think it came out with something else.
Maybe? It was just commander deck.
They
had a commander deck, and then they had a foil commander deck. And that was it. And no boosters, no additional cards, just that. They might have a secret layer drop with it, but that would be it in its entirety. Personally, I don't like having a new booster every month. I know people love it. I don't.
It's hard to keep up with.
It's fatigue. I do think I'm getting card fatigue. With it, which has made me spend less on the game and play the game less because of it. But I wish it was once every other month. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of indifferent. I like having more cards. I know I just ranted about no more new keywords. But I like new art, right? I do wish it was just a set of reprints. That would be my dream for Universes Beyond, is a set of reprints. Maybe the commander deck, you have a couple new cards in that, but outside of that, it's like the commander, Universe Beyond is pure commander, while...
I think I just pulled you a cool card.
What'd you get? Oh, a Giada.
That's a full art of your commander, is it not?
Yeah, that's
Bonds
my
of
main
Hope?
deck. Cool.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but I also pulled a Herald of Eternal Dawn with Flash, and you can't lose the game unless this is killed.
That is a good one.
And a foil Llanowar Elves.
Nice.
I wish Universe Beyond was just a commander set.
Yeah.
Just commander reprints, and then the other sets were more like new cards and new stuff like that. That way we keep the lore to that. But that'd be my dream. I'm not an executive making billions of dollars.
Right.
So like it is what it is.
And they're going to be legal, so you're going to have like Ezio from Assassin's Creed going against like one of their Spider-Man cards in an official like tournament capacity.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of
yeah.
crazy to think about.
Yeah, I think there should be a format of, and the way that I see it is there should be a format for standard of lore and everything else. Like keep the universes beyond in a standard legal that they can have with all the cards. But for the people who just want to play standard, like the original typecast standard, just let that be standard with no universes beyond. Consider it like a lore versus standard or something like that, because
You want separation between the two?
yeah, a little bit. Like if you want to, because again, like we've been saying, you know, there's so many cards coming out so often. Some people only care about the core sets and don't really care about the universes beyond. But in order to have something, especially like at LGS's or Pro Tour, like those cards are going to be legal. You're going to have to deal with them no matter what. You have no choice.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see a little bit of separation between the two for the people that want it versus don't.
That's fair, because then you do have to stay on top of what the new rules are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guys, we are all out of booster packs. You know what that means?
Oh,
We gotta go get more.
snuggle
We have to go
down.
get more, but the episode has to come to an end.
Oh,
You opened them too fast.
I'm so sorry. We pulled some cool
unfortunate.
cards.
Yeah, we
we
did.
did.
And we had some
Uh,
good conversation.
Yeah. I think you guys have a lot of great ideas for the state of Magic and like the future of Magic right now. I think we're all like very optimistic. I think this was a great start. Foundations. Do more sets like Foundations because we
Yes.
love the characters. There were so many great cards
Yeah.
in
I like the
this
artwork
set.
a lot too.
The artwork definitely rips. I think that's fair to say.
Yes.
Okay. Well, join us next time, won't you? And we'll open more packs and we'll play more Magic for you.
Yeah.
Say bye, friends.
Bye, guys.
Bye.